everybody out there on YouTube, Bryce and Michael RC here today, and we haven't done a file review, an STL review, in a while. A print review. So today we're going to be doing a print review. This weekend we're going to be doing a second print review. I've already put these videos out, the process videos, to both of these print reviews, but this is kind of just a video, like the Cosplay Thursdays were, just for me to kind of take the finished product and show you guys what this STL file or this 3D printing file or something can turn into. Now, for the most part, most of the Cosplay Thursdays that we did in the past and most of the regular cosplay print reviews that we've been doing recently have been from Thingiverse or My Mini Factory. But here's the thing. We've basically gotten to a point with Thingiverse and My Mini Factory, you can see all the prints and stuff behind me, that I've pretty much gotten to a point where I printed everything that I really wanted to print. That was absolutely free. So if you guys want me to do any further reviews or any further showings of any of this stuff that's free from Thingiverse, just leave me a comment down below and I can do something on it. Or if you guys want a certain process video to some of these, because some of these don't have process videos, some of them were just the product review afterwards, the print review afterwards. So they're not fully like this one that we're doing right now. I put the process video out, and it's probably the most in-depth that I've went with process video. In fact, it's like a 30-minute long video, maybe a 40-minute long. It was like an hour and 20 minutes, and I had to chop it all down because that's how much footage I got from this thing, and I wanted to kind of just put in the important stuff. When I did the Blue Ranger, I didn't do a process video for it because I put it together so quick. Not this one. This one's a commission, but mine, I put it together so quick, it came together in like 1 week, and since I put it together so quick, I didn't break out the camera during any portion of it. And it's a little bit different because it's a two-piece, and there's certain things that I did to that I don't do to these other prints and stuff, so I really wanted to put a process video out to one of the Power Rangers. So, the print review that we're doing today is an actual paid-for STL. So what I'm going to be doing here in the future is I'm actually going on Etsy. And you can go to DO3D, and they're more expensive prints. There's other places you can go to get prints for more expensive. Even on Etsy, there's some for a really, really high price, probably higher than they should be. But what we're going to do is, since I've done all the Thingiverse and My Mini Factory ones that I wanted to do, that I wanted to have in my own personal collection, I'm going to start moving on to Etsy about the under $20 prints. And I'm going to start showing you guys some prints that are under $20 because that's kind of reasonable for anybody that's on a budget. Maybe you just got a real cheap 3D printer and you don't have a whole lot of money buying the filament, and the stuff to do the process portions costs quite a bit of money once you start really getting into it, and you don't want to spend a whole lot of money on STLs, but you want a little bit something more than what Thingiverse has to offer. Because Thingiverse has like the Red Ranger, and it has a Green Ranger. My Mini Factory has a Green Ranger and some other Power Rangers and stuff, so if you want to do Power Ranger stuff, you're fairly limited when it comes to free files, but Etsy has all of them that you can think of. And there's a guy on there that has done just about every Power Ranger for about $12.50, and it's real reasonable, and they're really good prints, and I'm about to show you one. So once I go through those, then I'm going to actually go back and do some other prints by some other people that are a little bit more expensive, above the 30s, and we'll kind of gradually go into the DO3D prints, and we'll start getting some real good DO3D, like this is a DO3D helmet, and the Iron Man suit that I built was a DO3D. So those are a little more expensive, and they can get quite costly when you start getting them, but DO3D is probably the best I've ever printed from. Probably the most detailed that I've ever printed from. But the 1250 prints are just as good. They're pretty good. They are. I mean, there's a few parts that I noticed that were a little off. That I would have probably changed had I made the print myself if I had enough skill to actually make a print. That I kind of double checked and looked at the images in DO3D, the more expensive ones that are on Etsy, and then this one that's on Etsy, and it's not very far off. It's a little less detailed than the other ones, and the shape might be just a tad wider than the other ones, and I don't know which one's more accurate, but it's still a really good file. So without further ado, hit that subscribe button if you guys want to. You guys can go over and support me on Patreon, because this seriously helps out now that I'm going to be buying files and buying prints. It would really help if you guys went over and supported me on Patreon or something like that, or just order a commission from me. That'd be awesome. I love making helmets. Me and my son decided we're going to do all the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers besides the pink. We don't want to do the pink one. I don't have any reason to have the pink Ranger. And I don't really like the helmet. I think it's lame looking. So I'm going to do all but the pink and the Mighty Morphin. And then I'm going to do the Psycho Ranger. And then we're going to do... There's already a guy that does nothing but Power Rangers. So I don't want to dedicate this channel just to Power Ranger stuff. So we will be doing a lot of other stuff, including the Stormtrooper build. But without further ado, here we go. We're going to show you the Black Ranger. And this thing is huge. Look how big this thing is. This is probably the biggest file I have ever printed. Ever. And just comparison with the Blue Ranger. This is my normal size helmet. This would fit my head perfectly. And this thing is huge. In fact, let me show you real quick. That fits me perfectly. Perfect. It's an awesome helmet. This is this one. It's got padding in it up here, and it still sits on my shoulders because it's so huge. It's goofy huge. But the thing about this helmet that I really like, the Do3D helmet came in one big whole helmet, and I put the split down the side. I made the half and halves. This one already comes in half and half, and it actually has guides on the inside. You can see them sticking out right there to guide both the halves together, which is a huge help. It actually makes the helmet a lot better, and I really, really like that. So for this being $12.50 and the Blue Ranger that I just showed you being like personally getting the helmet itself, I think it's like if I remember right, it's about $65 or so, somewhere in that range. That's one huge benefit in this one, is that it's already split in two. Not only that, but it also had the visor. So it comes in 3 different files: the visor, the front, and the back. And so you can print the front, then print the back, and then print the visor, and you can actually trace. I didn't do this, but you can use the visor print. You can print it and use it as a template for whenever you're doing the acrylic or whatever you're using for the visor. You just lay it over the top and get a perfect visor. I didn't do that. You guys can see in the process video what I ended up doing. I made my own template and stuff because I didn't want to waste the plastic, but you could. And the Do3D one didn't come with a visor spot, and it was the entire helmet, so I had to do that one all by itself. Okay, more detailed, better helmet, but those tiny little things are huge improvements, and it helps out a ton. And I'm sure with Do3D you could probably get one about the same with the guides and all that different stuff in it. So very, very good looking helmet, very detailed. You can see the ridges here. I could have probably used above the eye a little bit more of a raised area because it's a little bit more raised here on the actual helmet. But you can see here, this is fantastic. Probably could have popped the tusks out a little more, you know, because I had to follow a line here with some tape all the way around. And what I had to do is turn it on its side, and I used the glare against the black to tell me where it changed colors and to put the tape along to figure this out. So the glare would start right when it would start raising. But if you kind of pop this out a little bit, maybe put a little bit of an indentation here, or made it just a little bit more detailed, it's fine. I mean, it's got detail. You can see all the great detail in it, but it's not like really raised detail. You know what I mean? Like when you look at this thing around the horns and stuff, you can see just how raised it is. Look at that front horn there, just how raised it is. And then look at the side horn here, how much it's not raised. You know, it's very flat against it. So I mean, that could be raised a little more. It would definitely help. The eyes, I mean, all their eyes are basically the same. These are a little bit more sunk in. I know that I've looked at this one like crazy compared to the original Blue Ranger, and this one is just about exact. For those people who want to do, I wanted to do the original first Black Ranger, and so all I did is put the white here and the white around there, and then the white on the tusk, because the original very first Black Ranger didn't have any of the white up here. A lot of people who make the Power Ranger helmets, and you can see my handprints because it's black, getting all over this thing. But what a lot of people do when you order a Black Ranger from somebody like Anarchy or somebody like that, they put this line's white, the trunks all in, that's got white outline all the way around, and this square part here has white. And so I think in order to do that, I mean, you got to really do some taping to get all that stuff up, and you can do it because you can see where it's at here and, you know, all the little areas. But if it was just a little bit more finely detailed, it would be a lot easier to do that, I think, with somebody with a little less skill. I could have done it, but I didn't want to because I like the streamlined look. The all black with just a little bit of white on it. I think the original was the best one. When the Black Ranger came back and was in that crossover episode with the Mystic Force and the SPD and all that different stuff, when he came back, he actually had everything outlined in white. And I think the second half of the original Mighty Morphin, when the other guy took over, I think Adam took over for the Black Ranger, I think there was a lot more white outline going on. But the very first Zack, you know, Black Ranger, where they used footage from like the 1970s, that was streamlined, and I think it's just a sexier looking helmet because black is one of my favorite colors. It's not really a color, it's a shade, but I love using black, and I love the color black because it's so beautiful and it shines so amazingly. And so to me, streamlining it, making it mostly black with just small touches of white and stuff, to me that's a whole lot more sexy. Than putting a whole lot of white here outlining it. To me, it looks kind of cartoonish. I actually seen it, and Anarchy is one of the best. Anytime I talk about Power Ranger helmets, anytime I make a Power Ranger helmet, I talk about Anarchy because he is the best Power Ranger helmet maker. And he does it all himself. He makes his own models, and he carves them, and then he molds them, and then he makes fiberglass molds, and they're $500 helmets. They're amazing. But I've actually seen most of his Black Rangers are awesome with the white outlining and stuff. He's got it down to a science. But I have seen some of his earlier ones where it was just cartoonish. And other people trying to imitate the Anarchy white all over the place. And the crossover Black Ranger white all over the place. And you can really, really get it cartoony. It has to be pencil thin white. You have to go get some white pinstripe tape and use the smallest one that you can in order to do it correctly. You would never want to paint that on. And see, this was all airbrushed, taped and airbrushed, every one of these. So, I mean, it looks really good, but I think if I would have tried to tape and airbrush all the white lines all over this, I don't think it would have looked near as good because you almost need that perfect precision. If you get the tape, if you put the tape on one side and then you kind of don't get it perfect on the other side, even if you get it super thin, any type of movement in that white will make it real cartoony. So you just, I mean, it's not something that I thought of doing anyways, but if somebody ever wanted one of these and wanted to buy one of these for me and have me make one for them and they wanted all the white all over the place, that's something I would have to say fair warning if I can't find any white pinstripe tape. Which, I mean, you should be able to find. Amazon has basically, the internet has everything, so it shouldn't be hard to find. But I don't think that's something that I would ever do painting. I would never put the white lines as painting. It would have to be pinstripe. But it's a sexy helmet. This has the best vision. Look how big and open this is. I mean, even making it smaller would have probably had the best vision. It's like literally wearing a pair of sunglasses in front of you. This thing is awesome. And I'll let you guys see out of it right now. Let's turn the flash on. So you can see perfectly out of it. You can see my shield right there. I mean, it's just amazing view. See my Stormtrooper helmet there. You can just see out of it perfectly. And this is done the same way that I've done everything with the magnets, the rare earth magnets. Goes together really good. Something that I did start doing with my helmets though, is you can see on the inside here, which is a little dirty on the inside because I haven't cleaned the inside. I do an acrylic visor, put in with hot glue, so no more flimsy visors like I had before. I also, you can see how shiny it is on the inside around the mouth area there, and then up at the top there. What I've been doing recently is after I get it finished, for some extra strength, I kind of pop the both halves aside, and I put fiberglass resin throughout the inside. I don't put fiberglass in it because it doesn't need it. But I do put the fiberglass resin on the inside, and it makes it a whole lot tougher. And not only tougher, but it makes it a heavier helmet. It feels a lot heavier and better. So there's a ton of Bond over the top. and then fiberglass resin on the inside. So this isn't just plastic. This is strong. And I did it to my commission helmet too. That helmet feels so good. I mean, I'm probably more proud of that Blue Ranger helmet than I am of any helmet that I've made, because it's good, and I think it's going to really enjoy it. The guy who got it from me. I did have to heat form because the visor doesn't fit in perfectly, so I had to heat form the trunk and the horns to make them fit right against the visor like it does in the TV show. I didn't put the lines around here, but that's fairly detailed. The mouth isn't. This mouth, DO3D got the mouth perfect. So you can see the difference in the mouths. See how that mouth is compared to the Black Ranger mouth. They are different. And you can definitely tell. Look at the bottom lip. The Blue Ranger is perfect. This is exactly how it is in the movie. And I've said before, whenever I did the print review to this, that the mouth is very important. It was very important to me. And that's why I've only done the Blue Ranger and done the Red Ranger, because they had good mouths. The mouth part of it was good. And you can see the Red Ranger mouth there. This is the first Power Ranger helmet I ever made for my son. And it's got a flimsy visor in it that's about to come out. So no more of those. But that's a really good mouth. Even that mouth is way better than this one. You can see just how detailed it is, how it comes down to a point. Then it's a straight line over, straight line back. That's the same thing as the blue one. This one comes down and rounds out all the way around. So not as detailed on this one, not as good of a mouth. But out of all the prints on there, it wasn't bad. Like, it wasn't so terribly bad. I mean, the mouth up here looks good enough. I mean, it could probably come in a little bit, but it's good enough. I think you're really going to enjoy this, making a smaller helmet. So, I actually, for the first time, I put the vents up here too, in the top. Kind of taught myself how to do that. I've never done the vents before, but after doing the Stormtrooper and having the vents here open in the front, after doing that helmet, I realized how important vents were in the front and how necessary they are. And I didn't do it on the commission. I told him that I didn't do that, or the latches, and he was fine with that. So I might get a hold of him and see if he wants me to do it. The only problem with doing it is it's got a finish on it, protective coating. And if I drill those in there, they expose the Bondo and the plastic, and so I would have to go back in there and repaint. And it's going to take a few more days. So it kind of depends on how quickly he wants the print or not. But I'm going to get a hold of him on Instagram and see what he wants. But anyways, that's the 1250 helmet from Etsy. Just kind of wanted to talk about it, let you guys see it. Looks really good. I mean, for 1250, guys, this is awesome. And I plan on, I hope somebody wants to order it or something, because I really want to make this smaller. But for my own collection, I don't want 2 Black Rangers. So if somebody orders it, I'll make another one, and I can't wait to actually make it smaller. I made this unreasonably big. And I'll tell you guys why I made it big. I made that video about helmet sizing, and I was actually going to do an example of the Blue Ranger, perfectly sized, by the way that I told you guys to size it. Measure your head, add a couple inches to it, and that's how you get the size, because you do the wall, the width of the wall, because you don't really know how wide that's going to be. And I said in the video, don't add, just add 1 or 2 extra inches to it, because that's about as big as the wall is going to be. Don't add like 5 or 6 inches to it, because then that'll make it unreasonably big. So I was going to use this as an example. So I added about 5 inches. So what that does is it adds 5 inches to each side. So this way, this way, this way, and this way. And it makes it unreasonably big. I mean, this is way too big. You could see that I had padding in it. I mean, I have padding in the top, thick padding in here. My face doesn't even touch any of the padding. In fact, I can stick this on my head. I'll show you just how big it is. And this will be the end of it. This will be the end of this video. I can turn this all the way around on my head. Let me get it on. Alright, it's on. Watch. Exorcist! 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 Exorcism! My name is Bryce Michael RC. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. You guys can go buy this on Etsy. I'll leave a link in the description if you guys want to go get this for $12.50. And also go check out this guy. This guy, he's an artist. He does several of the Power Rangers. He does just about every other Power Ranger you guys can think of, and they're each $12.50, including the White Ranger and the Green Ranger, which everybody loves. This is what it can turn out looking like. And go check out the process video. I will put a link in the description if you guys want to go check out the process video to this. Now by the end of the video, when I'm turning it around, I've already smudged it like crazy because it's black and it's got a shine on it, and my hands are greasy. So it's got smudges all over it. But anyways, hit that subscribe button. Support me on Patreon. Thank you guys for checking out this video. My name is Russell. See you guys later.